D-Day is one of the most infamous days in history, being a turning point on the Western Front during World War II. But how much do you actually know? Hopefully these 11 facts will enlighten you, and if they do, consider liking the video. Fact number 1. It wasn't supposed to occur on June 6th, 1944. Despite occurring on June 6th, it was actually planned for June 5th. However, poor weather delayed the invasion until the next day. Fact number 2. The D in D-Day means day. Saying day doesn't really make sense. So why does the D mean day instead of destruction, doom, disembark, or something that makes a bit more sense? Well, D-Day simply is the start of any day that is the beginning of an armed forces operation. So really, there are hundreds of D-Days, but June 6th, the invasion of Normandy, is by far the most famous one, so that's what people think of. Fact number 3. It was codenamed Operation Overlord. The armed forces use codenames to refer to any military operation, so the codename for the Allied invasion of Northwest Europe was Operation Overlord, which began on June 6, 1944 and continued until the Allied forces crossed the Seine River on August 19, 1944. Fact number 4. The Axis were prepared. While the Axis didn't prevent the landing, they were very aware that the Allies were going to be invading sometime soon. Erwin Rommel oversaw the construction of over 2,000 miles of defensive bunkers, artillery stations, and anti-aircraft weapons. Mines, barbed wire, and barriers were also placed all over the beaches to prevent landings. Known as the Atlantic Wall, these defenses stretched from southern France to northern Norway. However, the Atlantic Wall was just step 1. Armored tank divisions were also on standby in case of an invasion. Fact number 5. It was one of the hardest places to land. Like I said earlier, the Axis had been preparing for an invasion, but they predicted that it would likely come from a closer beach to Britain, such as Pas de Calais. Normandy, on the other hand, was one of the furthest crossing distances from Britain and had no port, making it a terrible place to land, but also one that the Axis did not suspect. Fact number 6. The Allies landed on 5 beaches. Each beach in Normandy had codenames for different units. The 73,000 American forces landed at the Utah and Omaha beaches, while the 83,000 British and Canadian forces landed at the Juno, Sword, and Gold beaches. Fact number 7. Many countries participated in the battle. The American and British were obviously the largest component of the planning and execution of the operation, but Britain's overseas territories, including Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Southern Rhodesia, and South Africa, as well as the French resistance, Czechoslovakia, Poland, the Netherlands, Norway, and Greece all sent airmen, sailors, soldiers, and equipment, totaling over 2 million men. Fact number 8. Operation Neptune was a phase of Operation Overlord. Operation Overlord was the name of the entire invasion, but the assault on the beaches specifically was called Operation Neptune, which started with the assault and landing of the troops on the Normandy beaches, and ended on June 30th, 1944, when the Allies had established a firm foothold in Normandy. Fact number 9. The Navy and Air Force played a large part. When people think of D-Day, they mostly think of the aquatic beach landings, but just as crucial were the contributions of both the Navy and Air Force. The Navy might be fairly obvious, as they were the ones who allowed the ships to land on the beaches, but what they also did was provide support via bombardment of the German defenses. Similarly, the Air Force played a role in dropping bombs on German defenses on the beach, but they also bombed key facilities outside the Atlantic Wall that prevented the Germans from launching a counterattack. Just hours before the beach landings, paratroopers descended behind German lines to sabotage the Germans' ability to counterattack as they captured key areas. Fact number 10. The Allies used deception. In order to divert resources away from their true landing spot of Normandy, the Allies carried out a vast deception to trick the Germans, codenamed Operation Bodyguard. Many German spies in Britain who were discovered were flipped by the British and sent back to give the Germans false information. Radio chatter about cold weather issues also tricked the Germans into sending resources to Scandinavia just weeks before D-Day. However, one of their most elaborate deceptions was their buildup of fake aircraft, landing crafts, and tanks. Painted canvases pulled over steel frames and inflatable Sherman tanks were placed all over to fool the Germans. The British knew all these deceptions had worked, as they had broken the German code and learned of their preparations for other invasion locations. Even on D-Day, deception still occurred, as aircraft were sent to Pas de Calais to drop clouds of aluminum strips that gave false radar readings, making it appear as if a large fleet were approaching. Fact number 11. It was the largest naval, air, and land operation in history. Like I said before, D-Day was more than just beach landings. Aircraft took off in the early morning as 2,200 Allied bombers attacked Normandy, while 24,000 airborne assault troops and 1,200 aircraft followed the air bombardment. The second phase France, the beach landings began at 5:30 a.m. as 6 Allied divisions and numerous smaller units began landing, which numbered 160,000 troops. By August 21st, 2 million men had landed in northern France.